Hey guys, Scare9 here, post-edit room, and I just wanted to throw an introductory statement in here. I did accidentally leave the game audio on, however, I noticed that around the 5 or 6 minute mark in the video, so if it's too annoying, go ahead and just skip that. We don't really talk about too much other than how pretty Nessus is in those couple of minutes, so I'm really sorry once again. Switching to Destiny 2 threw off my entire thing, but I hope you guys enjoy this episode nonetheless, and enjoy. Let's
well,
start.
they want people to test out all the weapons, so yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start, and then we can talk about that, I guess. Or well, you know what? I always keep in like the first minute and a half anyway. So, boom! Now everyone knows. So, well, I guess I should do my actual intro. Man, I'm all thrown off today. Hey guys, Scare9 here. Welcome back to episode 26 of the Last Word podcast. This is I wanted to call it the extra live edition, but that just sounds dumb, so I'm gonna do it anyways. We're playing the beta, zero preparation. They have a couple topics. I didn't do any preparation. We're just gonna hang out, play the beta, get some feedback from you guys, see what you think, and we're gonna have a good time. Might be an extra long episode, who knows? Depends when I get hungry. But yeah, Icano was just discovering that they may have ninja nerfed heavy ammo.
Yeah, I'm noticing that purple bricks are dropping from every third enemy that I've killed so far, and I've only been in this for 5 minutes, so it's a really bad sample size, but like I've got like 6 or 7 bricks on the ground of purple right now, and I've never seen this in this beta, so I think they might have ninja buffed the power ammo drop rate.
Oh yeah, they I have 6, 7 that I see right now looking around.
They're all
sitting on the ground.
They might have fixed the unlimited super thing too, because I just did it correctly. Switched my stuff, and as soon as I jumped off my Sparrow, I lost it. I'll try one more time, but...
And you know, what they said in the TWAB also, they said that they're making it so that certain enemies that you kill will be a guaranteed power ammo drop.
I think it's just majors.
Yeah, it looks like all the yellow.
Yeah.
Dropped it.
Majors and ultras.
And now that I'm looking at it, where these bricks are, they're exactly where the purples or the elites were.
Maybe they did, man. I didn't expect them to do it so quickly. That's crazy.
Guardian down.
But
it makes sense. I mean, it shouldn't be a tough thing from the implement.
Yeah, just
it should be like a slide.
Maybe, but they have to make sure they don't mess up the other drops from the enemies. I guess it's easier in the beta since they're not dropping engrams and stuff. But if it was like in the actual game, that might mess with that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to start off, if we come over here, I want to start off by just taking a look at how gorgeous freaking Nessus is. And if this is anything to base the entirety of Destiny 2 on, like, the attention to detail is unreal, you know? It's crazy. In this area alone, I believe, it might only be one, but I believe there are 2 lost sectors that you can, 2 lost sector symbols that you can see. Pretty crazy. One right here on my screen, and it's obviously going to be the giant tower. But I just want to get everyone's opinion, Jay-Z and Iconic too, but everyone in chat, like, how gorgeous, or do you hate Nessus, I guess, but just let me know your opinions on all that. But what do you guys, in terms of what we have seen in Destiny so far, like Destiny 1 as well, where does Nessus, just based on aesthetics, rank on your location list?
Well, my favorite location in Destiny 1 is Venus, and Nessus is like a prettier version of Venus, so I'm loving it. The very first thing I noticed when I jumped into this strike is just how expansive it is. Everything is just so big. If everything feels huge, every room you go into, every outdoor area, it just feels massive. So that's what I really appreciate about it, because when things are bigger like that, that's more of an opportunity for them to draw and to make things look good. There's another purple. I'm dropping heavy ammo everywhere. I have not stopped using my grenade launcher. I'm just like melting everything, and I don't even feel bad about it right now.
They gotta have a use somewhere, man. It's not PvP.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later, man. But yeah, I mean, essentially Nessus is Venus, though. I think I talked about that on stream last time. It's the Vex planet. It's got the Fallen as the other main combatant. The Cabal are here too this time, but that's not a thing in Destiny. But it's got weird lakes of discolored liquid, and in Venus in Destiny 1 it was methane and sulfuric acid. And here it is Vex milk. But yeah, I mean, it's essentially the same. You got weird architecture all over the place, but I'm loving it. What about you, Jay-Z? Are you a Nessus man?
I have a question about the Vex milk. is it like human milk to where you can't, after the Vex grows past a certain age, they can't drink it anymore?
Yeah, they can't drink it anymore, man. This is bad.
Okay.
That's why they leave Nessus.
I just wanted to make sure, you know.
No, how does it feel to know, like, whenever you're walking through these puddles, like, you're just stepping, like, literally on the Vex, like, in their purest form?
Well, it hurts you, so they piss you off even then. So. But we ran around the strike for a good hour the other night.
Yeah, just messing around.
Actually, on when it launched, we were running around, and it's just beautiful. Like all the structures that they put on here. You know, yeah, it looks like red grass, and you know, but it still looks cool. Like I think they did a good job. They added a lot more visual things than just like. There's a lot of the people complain about the patrol areas in Destiny 1 being very bland. You know, it all looked the same, blah blah blah. Every area that I've encountered on the strike, and we ran the opposite way of the strike into the patrol areas. It all looked different. It all looked unique. I'm not saying that there won't be any areas that aren't, but to me it all looked cool because it all looked unique and fun to explore.
Yeah, so. And that's what I'm excited for their planets. You know, they picked 4. I mean, so we get the basic Earth, we have no Earth, and then you get the Titan with the ocean, and then you get Io with the volcanoes and everything. And well, I guess is most of Io going to be underground? Is that what we decided? I'm drawing a blank on what Io looks like. I think it.
Io is the ice planet.
Yeah, that's the icy one.
Or ice moon. Sorry, not planet. Moon.
Yeah. Okay. So it's gonna be all ice, and then you have this one, which is like gorgeous, man. Look, like just that aesthetic, the giant Vex tower. That's obviously gonna be something. But over there, like, that would be a perfect wallpaper if HUDless mode actually worked. But it's like, I'm loving what they're doing here. The attention to detail is just absolutely amazing, and that's definitely something we did not have in Destiny 1. And I'm pretty excited because of that. So, man, oh yeah. Sorry guys, I just got told that game noise was on. New game, I forgot to turn it off. Hopefully that wasn't so bad. So, JC, you want to introduce your topic? Or your guys' topic?
Your guys.
Well, I think, your guys. I think Icano's going to have a lot more to say on this.
That's why I want a more level-headed person to introduce it. That's why I don't like it. I asked Icano to introduce the stuff in the beta, and he got very opinionated about it. So
basically, we've actually, for the last couple of days, been not having a... I would say Icano and I have had a spirited debate, and Scaro's had a mini, like... I'm gonna go off on your face rants on Icano.
That article you linked me was terrible.
Well, I didn't think it was terrible. I thought some of the points that were in it were valid. I didn't care about the whole, like, what they think or the Gaul looks like or whatever. I didn't even pay that attention to that. But basically, what we were talking about and what the issue with a lot of people that have played this game, played the beta, is supers. Destiny 1 felt more like, to me, and felt more like a super fest, like, especially coming into year 2, into year 3 as well. It was more super reliant, less weapon reliant, which, you know, it switched over from year 1, which was a lot more weapon heavy, especially in Crucible, to more supers and abilities. So it seems like every Crucible match, you may get 1 super per match. Some of them, if you're getting blown out or you blow the other team out, you don't even get a super that round, and it feels like sometimes even at the end that you're just popping them to use them, you know, to get like a few kills because you know the super comes really late. So a lot of people are saying that we should be getting more super energy or getting more supers per strike per Crucible match. And
just in general, like a lower.
Just in general, yeah, because you know the premise of Destiny was about, you know, over Guardians that have all these special abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna let Icano lead this one off because he kind of has opposite views of Scaro and I.
Go like, don't just dump everything out at one time. Go 1 point at a time. Let's do
Yeah.
a 1 point refutation, another point refutation.
Okay.
Because it gets difficult for me as a person who likes to the finer details. It gets difficult for me to hit on everything if we list like 7 things. So
Okay.
yeah,
So what point do we want to?
Well, just I know Icano had a lot of different arguments about the same kind of why we should be more powerful. So go like one of those.
Okay, and then we'll both rebuttal to.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the crux of the whole thing is the bottom line is that we're playing a game where we are, we're basically space guardians doing space magic things, throwing grenades that we're making out of thin air. We're doing super moves out of thin air. It's all about magic. It's very magical. Destiny made its mark by having all that. Otherwise, if they didn't have all that, it would have just been Halo, or it would have just been Call of Duty. It would have been just another game. But Destiny set itself apart by having that. And I firmly believe that Destiny 2 is not doing that, and it's frustrating in a way because I feel like this doesn't feel like a Destiny game. It feels like a Halo game. It feels like a really finely tuned, really well done Halo game at times, right? Like overall, it's great. It's just that it really comes to light, during Crucible, like you guys were talking about earlier, having more supers per Crucible match. When you do the strike that we're in right now, you can maybe do it twice, maybe 3 times if you're on the boss fight long, but I remember, with the right perks and the right modifiers, doing supers 3, 4, 5 times in an Omni-Goal strike in Destiny 1, and that's what made you feel powerful. Right now, Destiny 2 feels like it has trickle on as a global modifier in all activities, and in my opinion, that is not a good thing to do to the game, because basically trickle for me was always a very lazy way of making the game artificially more difficult for the player. It's like, here, we're going to give you all this space magic. Now you can only do it every 5 minutes when you could do it every 30 seconds. And that, to me, is lazy. That's not making it more difficult. That's just taking something away from me that you put in the game. And now Destiny 2 feels like that's everywhere. So it was just a very weird feeling going into the beta the first time on Wednesday. It felt like everything that I was used to doing in Destiny 1, I felt like I couldn't do anymore. I felt like it was more of a gun game. And one of the major arguments that's going around on Reddit right now is that they're doing that to balance PvP.
Remember when we said stick to one thing at a time? You've done 6 now.
I'm still on supers.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Like, okay, we can go into the PvP balancing for PvP in a second. I want to talk about the trickle effect. We can talk about why or why not in a second. But my main argument, guys, is supers in Destiny 2 are immensely more powerful than in Destiny 1. If I have Dawnblade right here, I can wipe out twice as many enemies in half the time because there's splash damage. You can do it quicker than pretty much any Warlock super in Destiny 1. You kill a lot more. Yeah, in PvE and PvP, it doesn't matter. They're more powerful all across the board. I'd say maybe with the exception of Nova Bomb. But that's a PvP-focused super anyways. So all of them are more powerful. And so in order to make it so you don't just run through everything 16 times as fast, the bosses don't have as much health because you don't have the special and heavy slot. You just have the power ammo slot. They don't have as much health. So, I mean, I think it goes back to, I brought this up to Jay-Z. I don't think I mentioned it to you, Icano. Your first reaction of Destiny 2, when you're watching the Homecoming mission, I specifically remember you saying this, was you were impressed with how much damage Dawnblade did to that middle boss during Homecoming. Because the guy was shooting him with the weapons. It wasn't doing anything. He popped Dawnblade and he took him down in like 3 hits. And you were like, wow, these supers are powerful. Yeah. And that's like my point. If you could just pop these super overpowered supers and use them 16 times a match, then there's no struggle. What's it even matter? There's no uphill battle to get our light back from the Cabal. There's none of that. It's just us being masters of light. It's essentially endgame Destiny 1 always. And that's how the game gets old. You got to add variety, you got to add difficulty. And if they just made the enemies have more health or be, you know, more resilient or make us do less damage or anything like that, then anytime we don't have a super, so say we get it 5 times instead of 2 times, but all of the enemies across the board are more tough to account for that, then anytime we don't have a super, we're sitting in a corner waiting for a super because we're hopeless without them. And that's where I stand on it. Let's, I guess, let JC say stuff like that.
So I agree mostly with the points that you were making, Scarrow, but also with the Voidwalker. I think the Nova Bomb is going to be a huge DPS to a boss, because you were saying it was more PvP. It is something good to shut down supers in PvP, but I think it's going to do massive damage to a boss. But that being said, I personally like the direction that they're going with the less supers. They could maybe amp it up like you could get a little bit more. But the other thing that we don't know is it's been proven that there are things on armor that give you more super recharge, things like that. So we don't know how much that's going to give us overall. So like I'm saying, yeah, we should get more, and then they give us this armor, and then now we're getting supers just like in Destiny 1. I don't want that. I love that. So here's, and let's talk about PvP after this, because, you know, I have probably a lot more to say about PvP with this. But it makes the supers feel special, like, and it also makes them coordinated. Like, you can't just have everybody pop a super all the time like you could in Destiny 1 and keep chaining them back and forth. And while I understand why some of the encounters were fun that way, it was less skill and gunplay and more of what supers you had and when you popped them and the timing and everything like that. So I'm liking the change. I'm gonna have to see the end game content, also the weapons. Like, we haven't even seen close to all the weapons that we're going to get in the game. So we could have some weapons that do some really good PvE DPS that we don't know about yet. We haven't seen barely any of the exotics, stuff like that. So, like, yeah, the bosses feel like bullet sponges right now, but that might change. Plus, we're not, like, the greatest at coordinating with our supers, and if sorry, I keep going with the hunter. If the tether comes back, then you've got a class on each character that has support, you know, for your team.
Yeah.
So,
which I did, just to add to that, my video yesterday showing that the weapons rift does 30% extra damage. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot, you know. I also do want to just confirm real quick that this is Iconic, you come scan that. Infinite Super still does work, by the way. But
I'm actually trying to do it right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Here, can you? Okay, you did. But yeah, okay, Icono, go on with your next point. I guess that's pretty much everything. Unless JC has anything else to add to that, but
no. Do we want to continue PvE or just go PvP, or do you have anything else to add to what we said, Icono?
Well, the only thing I would say to that is, you know, when you're talking about damage and things like that, all that's going to be tuned. What we're seeing right now are not final numbers. We're not seeing, you know, the final anything of this game right now. Everything's still being tuned. So we can't really take, you know, damage numbers and frequency of damage and things like that. All we can say based on what we've been playing is that we were handed a game that's about space magic, and it feels like we're not doing enough space magic. That how much damage you're doing and then the numbers that you're seeing popping up on your screen, that I think is not the point. The point is that I'm using my guns a hell of a lot more than I'm using my abilities, and that was done in answer to PvP. There's no other. I can't see any other reason why Bungie would have made a call like that to change the game that drastically, other than to nerf Crucible, basically.
Because, like, but to that, I would just like to answer, like, what I just said. Like, you can't say it's not about the numbers and then say it's about the numbers. The cooldown is just a number as well. It's the same as a damage number. It's the same thing. The cooldown, you have to balance the two, you know? How quickly you fire a weapon has to be balanced out by how much damage each bullet does. It's the same thing. Just imagine that your super is an auto rifle. Every time you fire a bullet, a super in Destiny 2 does twice as much damage as a super in Destiny 1, so it's got to have half the fire rate.
Sure, and they also reduce the damage of grenades, but then they also reduce the cooldown of grenades as well.
Oh, they addressed that in Destiny 2, or in the at the This Week at Bungie. They said that they are increasing grenade damage to all combatants. But it had
Are you happy with that?
Me?
Yes.
Well, it's not in Crucible. It's PvE only. So I mean, there's.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I'm never gonna complain about that. I mean,
well, so they can.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have the ability to do that. So if the super was, purely a PvP thing, then they could just go in and change it in PvE like they're doing grenades. But they didn't. So it's obviously not a choice only for PvP.
That was going to be my exact point. If they're able to just do it for PvE, then then they'd be able to do that. Are you okay with? And that was the question I was going to lead into with that. Are you personally okay with them making changes for each, and so like only changes for Crucible and only changes for PvE?
So the way I stand on it, I mean, I guess in the end it really doesn't matter because they are like two completely different experiences. I would rather things feel the same. I don't want to have a Red Death fundamentally give me less health in Crucible or shoot slower in Crucible or anything like that. It needs to feel and act the same. But if it's something like, the Thorn does more damage over time to, non-player combatants, then I'm totally fine with that. Or like, if it's something not noticeable, if you look at it, like, weapons do less damage to majors than to, regular enemies, right? And it's the same exact thing. Just treat, like, people in PvP as a complete new class of combatant and base your damage off of that, which is what they're doing. For instance, in Crucible, your Rift only appears to... I didn't do this in my video yesterday because I just read about this today. The Warlock Rift only appears to boost your damage 20%, and that doesn't apply to headshots. And I'm fine with that,
Yeah, I like that.
Because critical hits already do, I think it's 2 times more damage, 2.5, somewhere in there. Maybe it's 1.5. It's one of the three, but they already do a lot more damage. So if you put an extra 20% on top of that, that's just way too much. And so I'm fine with them, if it's game breaking, going in and balancing something like that. But like I said, their thing has always been it should feel the same. And I just don't think the game system had something built in it where they could go in and do it. But Luke Smith made it very clear that when they were designing Destiny 2, they wanted to be able to go in and tweak every gun individually for all these different things. And I'm fine with that. And like I said, them increasing damage for grenades shows that the super thing is intentional. It's not PvP. It's very intentional. They have a balance. They're obviously thinking like I am, where they're super more powerful. And on top of that, we just got our light taking away from the Cabal. If someone breaks your leg off and beats you to death with it, right? And then you get a prosthetic leg, you're not going to be able to use that leg as well, Or if you're like this is a weird ass example, but like an iguana, right, can shoot off its tail, but it can grow it back. And when it grows it back, it's like deformed. It's got like little nubs and stuff on it. It's very clearly not as functional as the first one. So it's the same kind of thing. We got our light literally ripped out of us. What made us, what is keeping us alive? We were dead, mind you. The light is keeping us alive. Brought us back to life. We got it ripped out of us and then put back in. It's not going to function the same. So I'm cool with that. It fits the narrative. It makes everything balanced. I'm not ripping through strikes like an absolute OG god, Like, I think it's in a very good place. And I get so angry at this type of discussion because I really just feel like everyone, it's not only Icono, people on Reddit, and it goes into like the main ingredient video that I made today, but it's like everyone just has to have something. There are clearly things to complain about in this game, but people want to complain about, for some reason, just the same things, even after they've been fixed. They will continue to complain about something, or if you don't like an aspect of the game, just like Icono doesn't like Crucible, he will naturally, subconsciously gravitate toward arguments that will, that blame Crucible. He's not going to want to blame like a PvE activity. He's going to want to blame the thing that he already has a distaste for. And so I just don't like when people do that. You got to approach everything from a complete level head thing and look at all the facts.
Well, I see what you're saying. I don't think you necessarily completely understand my position. I never once said I don't like Crucible. I enjoy Crucible. My problem with Crucible is that it gets too sweaty because of the people. I don't like how people get, namely people like you, because I've played trials with you, and you get so butthurt when someone dies. It's like, oh God, now you're dead. Now I have to do it all on my own. You're like, when people get sweaty like that, that just is not enjoyable to me. I play games to have fun.
But that's the thing. I wasn't saying that you didn't like Crucible as a whole. I was saying you very much have a distaste for it. Like you prefer PvE activities, which is true. You've said that. You've gone on record, said that many times, and I know that to be true personally. So, I mean, it's the thing. You're going to, like, if, for instance, if people, in real life, people are scared of certain religions and types of people, and they will naturally gravitate and blame those things first. It's just how it works. You're more likely, subconsciously, to blame something you already don't like and gravitate towards those arguments than the things that you are on their side and do like. That's my argument. That got way too philosophical. Pull us off, Jay-Z.
All right, let's go PvP. Icano, how much of PvP have you played? Are you happy with the supers in PvP or the amount of supers?
Well, I've played PvP every night this week. Honestly, I've probably put more hours into PvP in this beta than I did throughout the entirety of Destiny 1, just to give you an idea. I am definitely enjoying it. Now, as far as the supers, not so much. The problem with when I say supers, I'm gonna say I'm gonna encompass that to abilities. Abilities just are not resetting fast enough for me. I'm noticing that I'll throw my grenade at the start of the match, and I'm not throwing it again until like round 3 in the countdown, and it's like, I'm noticing that as I'm running around and I see a guy hunched up in a corner of a room or something in Midtown, I'll be like, oh, let me throw a grenade. I'm tapping LB and nothing's happening. That has been troublesome, and then the whole super thing. I'm like I said, I'm not a god at PvP, so I'm not gonna get 4,000 kills a match. And what's happening also in Control, you're capturing flags, which is what I like to do to support my team. Capturing flags is not boosting Crucible, or not Crucible, super energy. So even when I'm helping my team, I'm not getting super energy. So that's frustrating because I'm watching people on my team getting their super in the last 30 seconds of a match, and I've still got just a bit to go, and I'm not getting it because the match is over already.
See, that's one thing I've actually been really liking myself, is the focus on that kind of thing. If you play well, I feel like now granted, competitive's a different area. In Control, everyone gets their super, but competitive is definitely competitive. And in that, I've noticed that only players doing well and helping out and doing something, and hopefully it's like this in Trials too, will get their super in time. Or, if it goes to round 9 or whatever, that too. But if it's a blowout, you're winning 4-1 or 4-2, only the players that have 7+ kills are going to have their super. And I personally like that. I didn't like playing Trials in Destiny 1, and we're just, we're obviously clearly better than these people. But they just were able to camp in the back of the map and run away long enough to get their super, and then the worst person on their team is automatically more powerful than Zeus himself, So I like that. There's an increase, like I said, in Control, everyone gets their super 4 times. Or, well, probably 2. I get it 3 about, I'd say. It's just depending. That also matters how much you're doing, but not as much because you'll get it at least once. But in competitive, it's truly competitive. The better players, the players that are doing more team shooting, since everyone gets an assist counts as a kill, every kill that you get, if you put any bullets into anyone, it'll count towards super energy now. And so people who are doing team shots and clearly doing extra stuff, they're the players that are going to have their supers. And so the better players are going to get the better stuff. Just like in Destiny 1, the players that were able to box off, in most cases, not sure as the time, but the players that were better in Trials were the players that were able to get heavy ammo or stop the other team from getting it. It's essentially the same thing. So
I would say the better players in Trials had a mix of gunplay and map awareness as well.
Yeah, I know. I was just using the example of more powerful, like. So I was saying getting to the heavy. I wasn't saying like direct gun skill. I mean, of course, heavy you have to be able to choke point it and stuff like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you remember? What the first thing I said after the first match we played in Crucible was?
Wow, Scaro, you got 20 kills. You're an absolute god. Can you show me how to play PvP?
I'm pretty sure you were bottom of the scorecard.
Yeah, I probably was, man. It took me a while to get acclimated. This sensitivity, that's one thing I do want to hit on. I love they increase the sensitivity between Destiny 2 and Destiny 1. And I'm liking it a lot. It was hard to get used to for a bit, just because it's a weird. It's like Call of Duty sensitivity in the Destiny world. That's something I'm not used to, but I'm loving it. Sorry, you can go.
I think it's just more when you aim down sights, because I played it the normal sensitivity all of Destiny 1, and it seems about the same. Only when I aim down sights.
Well, I play on max. That's the thing. Maybe 10.
Well, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I guess I get what you're saying.
Side to side.
Moving like strafing side to side and like ADSing, yeah, that is a lot faster. I didn't notice that, but now that you said it, and I just take a look at it, yeah, you're right.
But so the first thing I said for Crucible was this is 100 times better than Destiny 1 for me.
Oh yeah.
I was not the greatest at popping my super at the right time, or no, just like popping my super in general. Like I would hold on to it for too long. I would, other things would happen. I hated the grenade spam. Hated the grenade spam. I mean, and there were multiple classes where you got 2 grenades right off the bat, like, Armamentarium, and then like the Warlock, all the Sunsinger grenades you get 2 right off the bat. Gloves for the and I'm not saying, well, Void Fang didn't give you 2. It just gave you
tracking.
Grenade.
Oh yeah, right. My bad.
It gave you an extra bolt.
Yeah.
But and I'm not saying there won't be exotics that do the same thing in Destiny 2, but I'm absolutely loving not having a grenade every round, because it's more tactical. Like the whole thing, this whole argument goes back to the supers are more tactical. You have to coordinate with your team. You have to be on top of it. Your grenades are more tactical. You can't just go every round, just throw a grenade, and or you don't spawn with a grenade. I love it.
Can I add to that real quick?
Sure.
So, like whenever... I think War Priest is the best example for this. So you have a tether on War Priest, and you shoot it, and you hit the pillar, or you miss. Yes. And in Destiny 1, you can just kind of walk that off. Like, oh, I'll have my super next round. It won't be a problem. But in Destiny 2, that's going to be like, are you kidding me? You actually just wasted your super?
Yeah,
like,
it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, it's going to be like
more tactical,
wipe-worthy almost,
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot because,
I love that.
In encounters like Oryx, Bubble Titan became a way to almost cheese the encounter every time. Even if you're not technically doing a cheese, people on top of the pillars killing ogres, they really can't do it unless you have a Weapons of Light. Right? Mm-hmm. Or Blessing back when it affected the Touch of Malice. But either way, like, pretty much every single thing circled around having your super. In Destiny 2, you're not going to be able to do that. And I like that. It's going to make things much harder. It's going to increase the difficulty. And I don't know. I like that. I think it's very... And now, looking back on it... Sorry, just real quick. Looking back on it, Destiny 1 was it was pretty easy. There's encounters that take a lot of teamwork and stuff, but on an individual... Like, for me personally, moments that I struggled in Destiny are, like, soloing Crota, which should not be possible in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So making me do essentially the equivalent of what 6 players do was, like, doing that flawlessly, or doing, like, 3 cannons. The difficult things in Destiny 1 were taking the roles of multiple Guardians. In Destiny 2, it's going to be challenging just to do your own role. And I love that. I love being challenged. Which is how
it should be.
Yeah.
Like the raid should challenge you each individually to where you need a team of 6 to complete an event. Mm-hmm. And then if you do it, like if one person dies and you get it with 5, it's going to be a huge accomplishment, that type of thing. That's how it should be. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking for. And I know the average player is probably not looking for that. But, if that's how it's going to be, I'm super pumped about it.
Yeah.
I'm even more excited. I couldn't be happier with the PvE, especially like game modes where there's revivals. Like you have a revival counter. And
Yeah,
if you die,
I like
it
that
takes
a
one
lot
off
too.
the revival counter. You don't even get the revive. And so like if you have a team of 4, one person dies, you have 3 revives left. That's it. Another person dies, you have 2. You revive somebody else, you have 1. And I love that. I love that whole aspect of
Yeah.
And it's gonna make trials so much better, because there's teams going back to trials. There were teams that we were better than, but they all had quick res on, and they would stick in one little group and chain revive, chain revive, chain revive.
Exactly, and that was always the thing in trials. That was my first advice to anyone learning. I was like, prioritize revives, because even if it's a 1-on-1, getting that res and dying for the chance of 1v1, but the guy now has an overshield is huge.
But even that, and you get a hit off on him, so he's got less shield, and your person that's facing off against him has an overshield against
huge
one
advantage.
less bullet. Yeah, but it was, to me, it was like it was too high of an advantage. So
yeah,
this revive counter now means like you get your 4 revives, and that's it. You are now have to play with the players that are left. So
yeah, I really hope that carries over to trials myself.
Oh, I guarantee you it will. There's no way it's not. I mean, it's part of the competitive game mode. So it'd be stupid for them not to do that, because that was my biggest complaint, is especially in year 1 and 2, when you got the revive, you had frames of animation. You literally could run past them and revive them at the same time, and get an overshield as you're doing it. So to me, it's genius. Like, I'm glad that they listened to feedback and then they're making these changes.
Yeah, and to the same strength, I don't have to wait for 20 minutes for Ratul to farm reses anymore, because he can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so he has a better KD.
To get his 30 kill
That's the thing.
round.
Everyone's always like, Ratul has a 3.0 KD. You should see about the first 4 games of every card. He's just like, all right, just sit back. Let me do this. And he's getting like 20 kills a game because he just toys with them. It's sad, dude. But he can't do that anymore.
He's so good though. Like,
yeah.
But
yeah.
he is really good. I mean, regardless of that, and he's only done it once with me, and it only lasted a little bit, and he got tired of it. And
it becomes like a game, though. It's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, if he's bored, he'll, like, let's see how many I can get before. But, going 1-on-3 basically. But that's the thing. Like, they're fixing that. It's gonna make trials rounds shorter, hopefully.
Yeah, it's gonna make the game shorter. People, and taking out farming reses, that not only helps because people can't just run away and then win the round because they get all their teammates up. It also helps with limiting the amount of supers you get per round, because if you can just kill people and farm reses, you'd have 2 or 3 supers a trials game.
Correct. Because the freaking helmet that you wore would give you extra superpower on revive.
Well, I meant specifically the person that's killing them, that's getting the res snipes, but that's a really good point too.
Yeah.
People getting the revives, getting that super energy. Yeah.
Yeah, when you have trials matches where you're getting 3 and 4 supers, like, it's not good.
It's going too long. Like, there's an imbalance there. Yeah. Agreed.
Like, you should be getting 1, maybe if you're doing really, really good, or if you go to the last round, maybe a second super, and that's only for like your top players.
Yeah.
So like, you have to coordinate your supers. Like, do we pop supers this round and maybe take the round, and then maybe later we can that's the fun part about it. That's
what I love.
Challenging.
And supers now, one thing that I love about that is supers are easier to kill now, which is awesome because they're so much more powerful. Like, you can easily, with every single super, maybe not Void Walker, but everything else, like 9 out of 10 times you're gonna get you are in a position to get a team wipe, right? And but the making them slower, making them so the freaking fusion rifle one-shot supers, that's huge. That makes it so you're not defenseless. Like, everyone in Destiny 1's like, oh gosh, Blade Dancer, run. Just straight up bolt. In Destiny 2, more and more, it's, no, stay on the ground and just shoot them a bunch.
Yes. If you team shoot them, if you have 3 people shooting at any of the supers, any of the roaming supers, you can take them down.
Yeah.
Now, he might get 1 or 2 of you, but you'll eventually get him down. And that's the other thing I like about it. You've got these supers, and so what was the counter for all the supers in Destiny 1? another super.
Yeah.
Now while you can still do that, it's not going to be reliant on you wasting your super to counter another super. And like so, I think the Voidwalker might be the only exception where that's going to be your shutdown, your definite shutdown super, which is fine.
Like yesterday, we had that round where we used 3 supers in one round, and we still lost it.
And we lost, yeah.
And they didn't use any. You know,
no, they used 2.
Did they?
The Titan Smash is what took 2 of us out.
Oh,
and then
okay.
They used a Golden Gun or something, if I remember right. I couldn't remember what the second super was.
But there you go. But Voidwalker's going to be so important in trials and stuff.
I believe, yeah, and that's going to be my main class. That was my favorite from year 1. So, although no, self-res was, but I started playing year 2 and 3 with Voidwalker instead of self-res. So it's been my class. Now the Nova Bomb, we found out from good old Jay-Z that it doesn't track 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get it, because I guess there'll be a guide on how to get it to track, because, you know, I'd come across the enemy and lock onto him and throw the Nova Bomb, and it wouldn't track, and they were like right in front of me. And then other times it would, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I mean, I'm liking where it's at. Are you cool if we jump into some community feedback just about what we've said so far, just so I don't lose the comments later?
Yeah.
This is a very bad time to jump into this, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I can. Zesia said something earlier that I really liked. I might have said something. Zesia, slower abilities fit the lore too. Oh yeah, I said that. We lost a Traveler to Gaul, and once we get the Traveler back, we can get faster recharges via armor. And once we beat story mode and regain our light, we might get our 3rd subclasses. That'd be pretty cool.
I forgot to talk about that. Can I make a quick point on that? I mean, it's just super quick.
Yeah.
Only thing about the whole, like, you know, you can wear armor that increases your abilities thing. One of the biggest complaints with Destiny 1 with Trials of Osiris and the raids and things like that was that you'd have to wear particular types of gear to spec into whatever you wanted to be efficient in, and that people didn't like that they were being tied down by their gear.
Why does that? I think that's beautiful.
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, but that was definitely a complaint, and I just think
people complain that pickles are too vinegary too. You know. Well, that's all a pickle is.
It's still a complaint, though. So what I guess I'm saying is that it's something that I'm very surprised that Bungie would be doing is like, hey, we know that you don't like being tied down to wearing the same pair of pants every day, but here, we're going to give you a pair of pants that makes your super recharge fast, so you have to wear them. So I think it's interesting that they did that.
I don't think that's interesting. I mean, I think that's a very easy thing to ignore, people like that, because it's like, you know, everyone's going to have a go-to PvE loadout. People are going to have a go-to PvP loadout. That's what you do when you put specific perks on specific things. It's just how it works. I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, even in every MMO I can think of, ever, right, there's gear that's better for certain activities. I mean, it's the same thing. That's like someone complaining like, oh, Risk Runner isn't that good in PvP. Why'd you make it like that? No, everything's going to have... Weapons have to be either good at PvP or PvE. There's a couple that are good at both, but naturally, one's going to be better at one than the other. Same thing, especially for gear, with perks like Angel of Mercy. Wherever you get a res, you get super energy. Or stuff that makes you more resilient is obviously going to matter more in Crucible, so you can take a couple more bullets or something. That's just... Those type of arguments don't make any sense. They're wanting Destiny to be a different type of game than it clearly is. So I'm not too surprised by that. What do you think, Jay-Z?
I'm sorry, did we move off the main point, or is he talking about gear?
The gear, yeah.
Okay. No, I love having... So, I have loadouts for everything, and you know me. I have guns, as far as loadouts, armor, everything for pretty much every activity I do in Destiny 1, and I love it. I love having different things that I can do and change into. I don't want to have one piece of gear or one gear set that is just the gear set for everything.
Yeah.
And that's the whole MMO RPG part of it that I like, that I enjoy, and I hope that they don't go away from it, because I like grinding for that different piece of gear, or grinding for something different, or grinding for that. Now it seems like gear mods, either gear or weapon mods, will be kind of cool. So I enjoyed that. I understand why some people don't, because they don't have the time to do it, and you know, but most gear is viable, even if it doesn't have the exact 100% perks or this or that. So I mean, even on that extent. Now I do want to bring up something that in the podcast that Icono had me listen to. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but they said speed is pretty much, Holtzman I think did a video on speed compared to like armor.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Mobility is
pointless in Destiny 2 so far, because it doesn't affect your running speed. It only affects your movement speed, like your walking speed.
How's it do with the maximum jump height?
He said it didn't really affect it that much.
I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't call that pointless, because it takes more time when you're sprinting to ready up your weapon. That's why people tell you don't sprint around corners in PvP. You know, because then you'll lose that gunfight because you won't be able to aim down sights. I think that's good. That means you can get around corners faster. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it's that tiny little, like, I don't know. I'm kind of all right with that. It'll help you, like, strafe away and stuff.
In armor compared to
I get that sentiment, Jesus. But it's something, you know. That's something I want to turn away. You know, I kind of like that, because imagine, like, someone's shooting you in the back, right? Like, from right around the corner, like I am, like, right now. You can't sprint sideways or backwards. You're just gonna move, and it'll help you get around cover faster. It's not. I mean, yes, I think resilience is still better, but I wouldn't call it useless. There's a specific playstyle that's gonna help out a lot.
Well, that, and one of the other complaints is shield recharge rate is very, very low.
Yeah, that's actually that's the next one I was going to jump into. Zestia says, I feel that health regeneration is a little slow in PvP. I can agree with that, man. I agree with that a lot. Jeez, it's just... Yeah, hey, just real quick, Icono, can you take us out and put us in control? It's a lot easier to focus because you don't have to pay attention to bomb detonating stuff. But I agree with Zestia. Even with like max recovery, that doesn't seem to do very much either. Like, it's a long time. So I agree with Zestia and Jay-Z on that one for sure. I mean, he specifically said the regeneration is slow for hunters, but for every subclass, including the warlock, which is the regeneration subclass, it's slow. It's super slow.
Yeah, I think they could up that a little bit, like, as a universal thing. Just because it makes PvP, like, there's more running and then, like, waiting, you know, around a corner, instead of being back with your team firing on both ends. So. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, because resilience does seem to do a lot right now. I would be interested. This is one of the instances I really wish, like, Bungie would give us exact numbers, like how much this increases your stuff.
Yeah, that's the argument they made on the podcast, was tell us what the cooldown is going to be. Tell us exactly, you know, how much extra health this resilience gives me. Tell me what my recharge time is going to be on my shield. Yeah. Tell me how much faster.
Well, we have to also remember that a lot of the stuff that we're not complaining, that's negative. A lot of the things that we're pointing out right now, these are things that they can still add that you know, because, like, if you look at Destiny 1 in vanilla, you didn't have like a second. There's no thing that you could hover over and it said grenade recharge 1 minute 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. That was taken care of.
It didn't do that in vanilla. People had to complain about it on Reddit for years before they did that.
I'm wondering I wonder why that wasn't one of the first things. That just doesn't make sense to me when people they added that to Destiny 1 knowing that people wanted it. Yeah. Why wouldn't they want it in Destiny 2? But
all I'm saying is that a lot of the things that we're mentioning right now are things that can still come in later on. It's like
everything.
It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if all this stuff. If Destiny 2 doesn't launch with all this stuff, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
People need to stop, like, raising the white flag just yet. I mean, it's still gonna be a very good game.
Yeah, I just one thing that I do like, but I feel like some players I like, but I don't. So as a player that never really paid attention until year 3 to tier 11 or 12 builds, I never really looked for that piece of armor. I got a piece of armor, I dismantled every duplicate. But in Destiny 2, it looks like every, resilience, mobility, recovery, it looks like it's all on a 1-to-1 scale. Like there's no like percentages on rolls anymore. Like you can't get like a 30% intellect discipline split, where it's not ideal, where you want that armor set again where you can get like the 100% roll to get a tier 12. So that's something Josh might be disappointed about. It seems like no matter what armor set you are wearing or pieces you are doing, you can have the same amount in combination of recovery, mobility, and discipline. Unless it's like something like Dead Space, where as you go, you can get different weapon mods that increase it by like 2 points or something. But I don't see that happening. But what are you guys all right with the tier 12 farm per se being eliminated?
Yeah,
No.
I am, because I didn't like having to like throw away a piece of gear that I liked aesthetically because it didn't have good discipline on it.
Mm-hmm.
I like gear that looks good. So I would rather, like they're doing it now. If you press menu now and you look at your character now, you can see that your class item has nothing on it. There's no mobility or anything on the class item. That's because they want your class item to be truly aesthetic, and I wish that they went more in that direction. If I get a sweet piece of gear that looks awesome, I want to wear it without repercussions. I don't want to wear it but then worry about not being able to move. I don't know. So like that kind of stuff has always kind of bothered me.
Yeah, I mean it comes to the point like they like in the end of Destiny 1, I think it might have been Taken King, but they made your Ghost Shell do intellect and discipline as well. And I don't think that was base game. That might have been base game. But your artifact...
It was House of Wolves, I think. It was either House of Wolves or it might have been Taken King.
Okay. And the same thing with the artifact. Like, at some point it becomes too much, Like, that's too many. I love farming, but having to farm for every armor set, for every artifact, for every Ghost Shell, to get the perfect roll to work with your other... Like, it's just not going to happen. So having 4... but they're always exactly the same, that's a lot more likely,
I kind of disagree with that point. I enjoy that. I enjoy that grind. That's why I like the MMO aspects of the light MMO aspects, because it's not even anything close to an actual MMO. But
I think our grind is going to be in the mods and not in the gear. That's why we have static rolls on our weapons. I think that we're really going to be grinding the actual mods and not the gear itself. You're going to get that piece of gear and it's going to sit in your vault and it'll be yours forever. You don't have to worry about grinding 20 more versions of it. If you inspect your stuff and you see how many slots there are for mods, it looks intense, man. There's a lot of different mods and shaders for sparrows and shaders for your gear and everything else. It just all looks so I don't know, man. It looks very intense as far as like where the farming is going to be as far as mods are concerned, and I don't think it's going to be with the gear.
Yeah, I just to that real quick. I just want to point out that if you go, like, there's actually no weapon mod slot. Like, so the first one is infusion, and you have 14 slots there, and the next one's shader, and you have 13 additional slots. But there's no we actually are not aware of how many mods we're going to be able to put on it. And we're not sure what it's going to change. It just says, attach a mod to a weapon to improve or add to its perk. Doing so consumes the mod. So will this change your intrinsic perk? Will this add a different perk to your perk trees? Will it, we don't really know the extent of it. Can you equip more than one mod at a time? Kind of thing. So I agree that they're changing it, so the focus is going to be mods, but I'm just interested to see, like, what that focus is going to entail,
If I were a betting man, it would be your intrinsic perk. And it makes most sense to change, since that's the changeable one anyways.
Yeah, could you have more than one on it at a time?
I think you can have more than one, but you have to switch between them.
You have to switch between? Okay.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah. Which would make it genius, like, because then you can have a weapon that you don't have to get multiples of. You can have one weapon and put the perks that you want on that weapon. And then switch between them, based on the scenario or situation. I like that. But you know, they might add something else as well. You never know.
That's true.
But, I mean, it's looking that way as of right now.
I guess we'll find out. That's something I get the purpose of the beta, but it's something I just wish they would have given us like a little nugget on, like just something. I guess they're probably saving it for like reveals leading up to it, because we still have like a month and a half, 2 months where that they have to fill with like hype content. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. But still, like, just it'd be nice to have something on it. Or freaking IGN might be doing a first on it, and we just don't know yet. Or we have all of them weighed out. I'm just not.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have the whole schedule, and I don't think it's in there.
Okay, well, yeah, that's another thing I want to point out. As Vegan pointed out, my guess is one mod at a time. Guess burn damage could be a mod as well. Yes, if you hover over your here, I'll do this in a second once I die. It does give the impression that burns are going to be able to be applied to different weapons and stuff, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Here, let me go in the back and inspect this real quick and just read the exact definition. If I just go... Okay, so it says, Void Damage Mod, and it's a rare mod, by the way. Equip this to a weapon to charge its rounds with Void Energy. So it says equipped, meaning that you can take them off and stuff. And I just noticed it's only a rare mod, which means that there are rarities to mods and stuff. So there will be exotic mods. There will be legendary. Oh, I can't say there will definitely be exotic mods, but it would make sense,
That would make me very happy.
That would be very cool. See, that's the thing. Could you only apply? Could you only apply one exotic mod to a weapon? If you accidentally put an exotic mod on a weapon, would you have to? And you didn't like it, would you have to farm for a new one?
Probably.
I like that.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Like, if it gives me a reason to farm something, I will farm mods for weapons. For my favorite weapons, I'll do it. I don't care. Like, just give me something to farm. Don't keep giving me the same weapon over and over again with the same rolls over and over again. And, like, I don't want that. So, yeah, I'd be happy with that. Super happy with that.
Okay, cool. Did you just kick me from the fire team?
It's the same thing for me. Yeah, I kind of thanks.
You know what? This is a good opportunity to switch characters. Let's use different characters real quick.
Fine.
I want to switch to my Warlock.
Just like to point out that in the stream yesterday where I tried to do good in Crucible, I kept getting like 1.5 KDs, and while I'm not even paying attention to the game, doing a podcast, I just got over a 5 KD. Because logic, right? Oh, man.
Hey, man, anything over 1 is good for me, and I have not been under 1 since this started, so I'm loving this new 4v4, man. I'm loving it.
Dude, okay, well, Vegan just he just put something really awesome in chat, actually, from PC Gamer. With the PS4 beta for Destiny 2 going live today, we now have confirmation that weapon and armor items will be getting mods for both stats and shaders. So you will be able to maybe switch the stats. So maybe you'll be able to re-roll, like, if you look at your Ghost Shell, this is something I want to talk about. This is, if I load in, here we go. If you go to your Ghost Shell, the 2 perks say a mod with randomly generated upgrades. So is that a mod that will automatically, like, your ghosts will increase your resilience as well, and it'll just be random? Or is that something completely different, Who
knows?
Yeah, maybe that's just placeholder text?
Yeah.
It's very, very cryptic, almost.
I'm sending you guys invites.
Okay. And then Zesia asks, he says, wait, the PS4 exclusive sniper switches burn damage, so could it just rotate between the burn mods you have selected? That sounds like a solid theory, but in the screenshot, in the GIF that they made, the guy's changing stuff, like, without going into his menu. Like, he's like shooting, and then he reloads, and it switches. So I still think it'll be something... They're utilizing a lot more of, like, hold down this button and it does something else. For instance, if you hold down the grenade button on the Void Walker, it steals your super energy, it supercharges it. If you hold down your buttons on the Defender Titan or the Sentinel, it makes the bubble. So they're really experimenting with the holding down button. So I think that's going to be, if you hold the reload button, it'll switch your ammo type on that sniper. That makes the most sense to me. I really like that they're utilizing that, because I'm glad they didn't go like Mortal Kombat style, and they're like, if you hit like LB, RB, B, you'll in that sequence you'll switch weapons and stuff, you know? Like, they're just doing the smart thing, and they're like, hold down the button, it does something else. I like that. Yeah, I agree with that. They're probably just gonna switch like that. Do you guys think it'll be anything else, or does that make sense to you? Or
yeah.
Okay. What else is there? Is there anything else that we haven't talked about yet?
So what's your overall feel of the beta?
Right now? Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, freaking! I mean, I've played the beta for, let's say, at least 3 hours every day it's been out so far. This is only the third day, granted. And I have to make videos. And, like, I wish you guys could see this. You might be able to in the reflection. I look like a psychopath. I have sticky notes because that's how I organize my thoughts and stuff. I don't have, like, a whiteboard.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, just sticky notes.
All
everywhere.
over my desk at work.
Yeah, exactly. So when I'm playing and I see like an Easter egg, so I have like 3 videos I'm wanting to make, so 3 separate sticky notes right here, and plus a couple with just extra stuff. But whenever I see an Easter egg or something I want to put in a video, I'm just like, oh, sticky note, write it down. And Victoria walked in yesterday and she's like, what the heck? Because I just had like 7 sticky notes, like, and they're not, I didn't even like take time to organize them. They're just thrown around my desk. Like, because just as I'm playing, I'm like, oh, can't take time. So I just stick it there, write it real quick, and then I go with it. But, you know, the beta has me really excited. It's weird that a strike, 2 Crucible maps, and that's pretty much it. And the story mission is the most Destiny content we've had since September. Or no, I guess the Dawning. That's a lie. I forgot about the Dawning. Since December, which is 7 months, which is actually crazy. Oh, well, the Age of Triumph. When was that? Is that April?
February, end of March.
April?
March.
So, okay, I guess that's not too bad then. But it's weird it's a weird feeling that this little content is just so much content, you know? Yeah. But there's just so much to gain from it, so much knowledge and experience and everything just to get from this little bit of gameplay. And I'm loving it. New weapons and new armor and new supers and new buttons to hold and new opinions and new, I don't know, milkshakes and stuff, you know? I'm loving it.
Milkshakes. One thing I can say, if you look at this beta, right, and how scared, you know, some parts of the community were about this game, like people were scared that it was going to be garbage and everything. When you look at this beta and you look at the fact that the biggest complaint right now is cooldowns, you know, like that's not bad. That means that overall, I mean, we could be doing so much worse right now, I guess is what I'm saying, as far as like, you know, where the game is. And like, we could hate the way the game looks. We could hate the story. We could hate everything. That's another thing we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the story mission at all. But we could talk about all these things about how much we hate it. And really the biggest complaints right now are just like small little things like, you know, we just want sliders moved a little bit on super energy. We just want sliders moved a little bit on this. We want a little bit more power ammo. Like, those are our biggest complaints. As far as I'm concerned, if I was Bungie, I would be throwing a party right now, because if the community is only complaining about this stuff, we just made a hell of a good game.
Yeah, I've got to say, for as much controversy as there was about certain things, like returning subclasses, getting rid of intellect and all that, you know, the people had a bunch of stuff that they were... static rolls, smaller Crucible maps, 4v4... everything. There were so many changes that they made to Destiny 2 from Destiny 1 that people were scared about. But, like, I'm convinced that Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy are freaking geniuses. Like, they know what they're doing. And I said this. I put this out on Twitter after the static roll thing and the kinetic and the mods and stuff. I need to stop. I don't do it very often. I'm a very give Bungie the benefit of the doubt kind of person. But especially after this and all the content that we're getting, and Gaul and how amazing he is, and Unbane-like he is, and just how gorgeous the game is, I feel like you shouldn't rush into situations doubting Bungie anymore. Like, they've had screw-ups in the past, yes, but I feel like they've truly learned from community feedback. They're making this game phenomenal. And I'm pretty excited to see what they do in the future. You know, anytime I get worried about Destiny, or like something they do in the future, I'm gonna start getting excited, pretty much. Because it's just gonna be a good change, hopefully. But yeah, man. Anything? I mean, how are you guys feeling? Like beta, Destiny 2, is it living up to your expectations? Is it? I mean, I'm curious from people in chat too. Like, how does just everyone feel? Because I saw some people like saying, "Oh, this doesn't feel like Destiny," you know. And I'm thinking that's more of a graphics thing. I like the updated graphics. We can jump into that. The graphics, they're darker. They use a lot more dark tones and like more various shades. Like Destiny 1's a very bright game. Like even in Crota's End, just like bright green crystals and bright yellow lamps and stuff. And this is almost. It's almost edging on cell shaded, you know? Like, it's got the very dark corners and edges to everything. I'm really liking it.
Yeah, the overall look, I'm liking a lot. One of the other biggest complaints I heard was movement speed. Why am I so slow now? Why does everybody move so slow?
Oh, yeah, that too.
I don't really agree with that. I see it. I mean, I agree with them. I think we do move slower, but I don't think that's a negative. I like it. I like the new move speed. I like how deliberate it feels.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they made the game slower. I think they just got rid of Titan skating and Warlock surfing, and the Blade Dance and Lunge. And those three things, everyone's so used to just spamming those buttons that it feels so much slower. But honestly, I think it's just like the speed Destiny was meant to be. Like Destiny 1, and there were just all these movement exploits.
I agree. I prefer the more methodical pace. I don't like, you know, being able to cross map, fly across it like Titans used to be able to do in like 2 seconds and, you know, be at an objective. You know, it's focused more on gunplay, and I love that. I love that idea.
I think that's the thing. Like, a lot of people were focused on the Crucible being more, you know, specialized around gunplay, but it makes sense for the entire game, you know? We don't grind for subclasses. We don't grind for different grenades. We grind for guns, you know? If I get a Red Death or the equivalent, you know, I keep using Destiny 1 exotics, obviously, because we don't know very many. But, you know, if I have to work hard to get a Gallahorn, or I guess it's a bad example, something with a lot of ammo, like Outbreak Prime, you know? When you're running Outbreak Prime in Crucible, the majority of your kills are still from grenades, supers, things that you inherently get. And I feel like things that you work for, if you want a better gun, and you work for it, and you farm for a perfect roll grasp, or Hawksaw, or PDX, or any of these things, you know, it should have utility. You know, it shouldn't be to finish off someone because your sniper body shot them, and you just need a couple more bullets. It shouldn't be because someone's burning in a corner, and you just need to pop a bullet into them. It needs to be because you worked hard for this gun, and the things you work hardest for should be the main staple of your loadout. To give them a reason for it, you know, in Destiny 1, you farm for things that are essentially trophies, or you did until the Dawning and the Rise of Iron, where they really smacked down special ammo, and then people found out you can spam grenades. But for that like month grace period after the Dawning, it was great. It was all primary on primary. If you farmed, you got a really great primary weapon, you did better. And then people were like, "Oh, I can just hit my LB button and I can." Let the game do stuff for me.
I love that impression. Like,
yeah, dude.
It's so like that.
It's so bad, man. But I like it. Things that you farm the most for should be the best. I mean, even in the beta, we're getting that, right? Like, Jay-Z, I think it was you. You were talking about yesterday, like, you just want the pulse rifle or the fusion rifle, right? Was that you? It might have been
Pulse rifle.
Pulse rifle.
Because I was playing on the Hunter, and I was just getting, like, armor every round.
Yeah.
Because right now the pulse rifle, I've always been a pulse rifle guy from Destiny 1. Burst weapons prior to that. So like I'm better in Crucible with it, so I wanted the pulse rifle to play in Crucible. So yeah. So my stats weren't as good because, you know, I'm learning other weapons and I don't have that versatility that I like with the pulse rifle. So yeah. Long story short, yes, I was wanting a pulse rifle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you're actually wanting to farm for the pulse rifle, not just because it's a decent weapon. It's because it's a good weapon, and you'll be able to use it, and you'll actually And so that's what I'm saying. Like, all these people, you know, and people are saying like grenades are underpowered and stuff. It's because you don't work to get your grenades, man. And plus, like, you should be able to. You know, it's a first-person shooter, not a first-person grenade thrower simulator. You know, like, I don't know. There's certain things like I feel like people that are. I'm not trying to throw anyone on those characterizations. So you know how like at the beginning of South Park, it's like any celebrities or any celebrities look-alikeness is unintentional. That's what I'm doing with this statement right now, right? So you know, people who really weren't that good at PvP or at the game in general and had to rely on these little things like grenades and stuff, I feel like they're the only people getting mad about a lack of like grenades and stuff like that. Or, you know, I haven't seen anyone complain like my melee is not powerful enough. But, you know, I saw complaints that stickier grenades don't do enough damage. And it's like, that's just because you're used to spamming your grenade, you know? It's meant to be played in a very different way. And
Grenade's supposed to either lead into taking somebody's shields down for a gun battle, or to finish somebody off.
Or finish them off, exactly. It should never be in the main course. Make it the appetizer or the dessert, you know? Yeah. Or good for zone control, too. That's a, you know, area of effect grenades are really good for game modes like this.
Correct.
So
yeah, they should have a specific purpose, not be your, you know, like grenades and supers be your main.
Yeah, your abilities should not be your primary weapons. Exactly.
Correct.
So I'm liking everything they've done so far. I haven't seen anyone, you know, and that's the thing. Like when you slow it down, you really think through everything. I haven't seen anyone in chat or in my videos, you know, really try to disagree with me on any of this. And I think it's just because it's so hard to disagree with. Like, it's hard to argue with all of that because I mean it's really backed up by the name of the game, how games like this traditionally pass. Like in Call of Duty, you don't see people like primarying Semtex grenades, you know, because it's not a grenade, it's not a first person grenade thrower, it's a first person shooter. So I don't know, I'm liking everything. Vegan says, PvP feels like the best I've played in Destiny. PvE as well. The strike feels like a mini raid, and the boss felt like a challenge. The graphics are amazing. So yeah, pretty much that sums up how I feel about everything. Now, I'm worried that the boss is just difficult now because we're, you know, under-leveled. We don't have the weapons and stuff. I'm worried that he might be a little bit too easy come, like, end game. But at the same strength, like, if we have to farm strikes for stuff, and, you know, if there's no bosses out in the open world, but we have to, like, say you kill... what's his name? Promethean, I think. And you have to, he's the only way to get X weapon or X armor piece. Like, I don't want him to be impossible to kill, so I can't farm with, like, randoms or something, you know? Mm-hmm. I think it's at a good difficulty. I think PvP's at a good difficulty. I think... I'm just liking it all around, man.
So, like, and we only have a limited weapons selection, but... So... There's a lot of nostalgia for year one Destiny, a lot of nostalgia, and it's not really justified because I guarantee you, if you go back to year one, like with the Thorn being overpowered,
people would hate it, dude.
The last word having 111 headshot, you know.
How about just people having to farm for materials and the lack of you know, everyone was wearing a faction.
Well, I'm talking more
item.
Crucible. Year one. Crucible.
Yeah. Last word and Thorn then, yeah.
So yeah, so you got Last Word, Thorn,
and Blade Dancer.
And even in the beginning of the game, Suros Regime, you know, that's not present right now. That it's gun skill. And
yeah, so diverse.
That's what it should be.
People are using every weapon right now.
Yes.
Even with the main ingredient being seemingly hand built for the two maps that we have, I still see a bunch of people rocking everything actually. You know, people are just using everything. I like that. Gun diversity is very important for the longevity of a game.
I agree, and especially so many of those people that had good thoughts about year one Destiny. If you went back and played that now after playing this or playing year 3, even though I'm not happy with the special ammo nerf and all that other stuff, you know. It was way unbalanced, and it was not in a good place. So like people that want to think that year one is the golden age of Destiny is not, they're crazy.
Yeah, right. And Aphrodite's spear with wasting all your ammo, so you get immediate one shots.
Final round, one shot, body shot. Yeah.
And Thorn too, wasting the first half of your mags, so your final round hit, or the Hawk Moon.
Headshot kill. Yeah.
People emptying the first half of the mag.
No, the Hawk Moon you could get every once in a while. It would do all 3 bullets at once.
It was
a one-shot kill. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like that's still some of my strategy with the Hawk Moon. Like waste a couple bullets, see if the luck in the chamber props. If it doesn't, keep it. If it does, reload, go again. People still do it, man.
But I mean, I guess my point was, this is super balanced right off the bat, and we're in the freaking beta. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they've got
KD. That's what's up. I'm loving Crucible in this game. I'm loving this stuff, dude.
But I mean, just like, so most of the people that would beat me were beating me with specials, grenades, blah blah blah. So now that I have actual gun skill comes into it, it makes it a completely different game, and I'm automatically a little bit better. I'm not like great at Crucible, but I'm better at it now.
You're better because you're a long-term gamer like me. Like we've played a bunch of games, we've developed our gun skill, and so when you're thrown into an environment where your gun skill literally does not matter, and all that matters is your ability to hit the left bumper, it's disorienting and it's very disappointing. And I'm loving this, man. It's like, I'm not getting necessarily better KDs in Destiny 2 than I do in Destiny 1. I'm getting about the same, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm not like bashing my head against my wall because I trade every time I get a kill because someone knows how to throw a grenade,
Yeah.
So
because you kill them, and then the sticky grenade kills you. And the other thing is most of my deaths, like, there's only been a handful of games where I went negative. And granted, you get kills for assist now, so that's going to inflate the stats a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, like, most of my deaths were because I did something stupid. I took the wrong decision. I ran around a corner willy-nilly without, like, peeking the corner, stupid stuff like that, or staying in a gun battle too long that I knew I was going to lose. Those are all my fault. That's on me. That's not on the game. And that's what I like. I like it's stuff that I can improve on. I can't improve on getting stuck by a sticky grenade. I can't improve on getting, supered every 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
As you're spawning. So, getting a game where you can actually improve and you can look back at your play. Like, I'm gonna probably record more Destiny 2 of my own plays because I can actually look back on it and make improvements based on, well, what can I do better in this situation?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Does anyone? I mean, it's been over an hour. Pretty much. I just one last I can't even say his name. Jelly Gaming. That's a hard name, my friend. He says it does feel a lot like Halo. I'm not really getting that vibe.
No.
I mean,
Halo's much faster.
Some of the gunplay a little bit. I can see where he's getting it. Just the time to kill's up, and I think that's more what he's talking about.
I think also a thing that'll make it feel like Halo. Halo, you have the set of 4 games or 4 guns, and or like 5 or 6 or whatever. You have there's no variations on weapons, and we're just playing the beta, so you only have like 6 guns to choose from right now.
But Halo, you had to pick up all. Well, I guess Halo 4 you didn't. I didn't really play much of Halo 4 multiplayer, but everything up through Reach, you picked up all your weapons. This you get to pick what you want to play with, and then you have more abilities, obviously, than you ever did in any of those games. Like, you got to pick one in Halo, like jetpack or something like that.
Yeah, too bad there's no jetpack in this, dude. That would be so overpowered.
They're called the normal jumps. There's jetpack.
Dude, I remember in Halo Reach, that's the only Halo I ever played, and I didn't even have internet at the time, so I just played with my brother. We would go into, what was it called, Forge, and we'd go to that map that's just literally a giant tower, and I would turn, we'd do snipers only, jetpacks with no recharge, and so we would just fly around the entire map sniping each other. Is awesome. I wish there was something like that in Destiny.
Real quick, what do you guys think about when you go in your menu and you press down, it doesn't say Sparrow, it says vehicles.
I don't know, because if you hover over mods, it directly says ships and sparrows. So, but it calls them sparrows, not vehicles. So I'm thinking that might be like a typo. Maybe someone's like, oh, you can drive tanks. Maybe that'll be equipable, but it won't be.
No,
but,
I mean, they might have different looking sparrows or vehicles, which would be cool. Like as long as they don't like, so don't add a machine gun turret to a vehicle and make it equipable, that type of thing.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. You want that?
Why not? Vehicle combat. That'll add another bit of difference to this from Destiny 1. I mean, Borderlands does it.
Borderlands doesn't do it in Crucible. I mean, is that the argument you're making?
Well, I don't think they're going to
have Crucible.
They're not. I don't think they're going to have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Vehicles in Crucible. I really don't, because it's only 4-on-4.
No, they're not going to put.
No, dude, there better be some combined arms with some tanks.
I don't think so, man.
I hate vehicle combat. I hate vehicle combat so much. Especially like ships, dude. I can't stand it. The mechanics are always trash. But there better be a game mode where I can load in and shoot people with a tank. All right. I'm just saying, there's gonna be. I know Bungie. I know they wouldn't just design these tanks and leave them there. Same way they're not gonna design pikes and not put them in a Crucible map like they did in Destiny 2. Same thing with whatever the Cabal ones are called, the Harvesters. Freaking, there's gonna be a combined arms playlist. I'm calling it, man. There's no way.
I know it seems like most of their maps are geared towards.
Yeah. It would have their own maps, like Combined Arms in Destiny 1 has.
Well, I guess if they're gonna release regular content, then they can start releasing some bigger maps or like, I just don't want a whole DLC to be like big map battle, big team battle.
Oh no, yeah. I think it'll be part of the base game, but if you like First Light, freaking all the other ones that I can't think of any, Skywatch, all those like they're Combined Arms exclusive, right? So they could totally do that, man. Just take apart.
Yeah, and how often were they actually played?
Well, if you go into Combined Arms, like every match, those two times that Trials was the map on First Light, my two favorite Trials weeks, by the way. It's just fun to screw around on it. It'd be cool. I'd even be fine with them.
I think you're in the minority on that, but that's why we have opinions. And
yeah, for sure. But I don't see anything wrong with it. Like if they just even recycled the maps from Destiny 2, you're not forced to play it. You just take the same maps from Destiny 1, put it into Destiny 2. No one's forced to play it. There's no boundaries or anything. If you want to have fun, you load it in this playlist with tanks. What's stopping you? What's stopping Bungie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
All right, man. I think that's going to be it. Overall, I think it's safe to say we're all very impressed with the beta. All very impressed with Destiny 2. September cannot come...
PvP 100% better. 100%
yeah, absolutely. Better. Absolutely.
I really feel like that was like a Christmas gift for me because, like I said, I've said it a million times on this show, that Bungie already has my money. I already paid my $100 for the deluxe edition and everything. Mm-hmm. They've already got me basically, but I was committed to a PvE experience because that's what I did in the last 3 years. I was committed to having an awesome PvE experience in Destiny 2, and the beta has shown me that I'm gonna get an awesome PvE experience, even if they don't fix the super cooldown, even if they don't fix the power ammo, which they are, I know, but let's just say that they don't. I'm still going to be happy to be playing it because it's already better than Destiny 1. So I'm already happy there. So yeah. I was already happy to make my pre-order. Now it's like I feel like I'm even that much more happy because I'm playing Crucible. Not only am I doing well, but I'm having fun. And that's the most important part. I feel like I'm getting 2 games now for the price of 1. And that's awesome. This 4v4 thing, whoever thought of that at Bungie, I don't know if it was Hamrick or whoever made that call, I want to shake their hand, man, because they basically gave me a whole nother game to play in September. I'm getting 2 games in September. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, they're going back to Halo, because most of Halo was 4v4, and that's where they were the king of multiplayer for so many years.
I mean, even Halo is still huge in esports.
Yeah,
the old Halos are still huge in esports, which is crazy.
Yeah,
but I'm fine with it, man. I don't think this plays a lot like Halo. I will continue to argue that.
I don't either.
But I'm fine with them taking something like the 4v4. cool with that.
No, I mean, but if the gun skill that they learned from all the Halo games, or not the gun skill, but the mechanics of battles that they learned from all those games, that they're taking and putting it in this game, and then adding more mobility, ability, any kind of ability, things like that, make this what it is and make it special. But not only that, but they're making it more skill based now, which they didn't have before, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end this episode on a really positive note. I think it was a good one. For not planning anything, went extremely well, and it's actually, I think, our longest episode to date. So, just under an hour and a half. So I'm really glad, because I was already like, I might edit this. I wasn't planning on editing it, but I might go in there and do it. But I don't know, it was good. It was weird because it was more structured than I thought it was going to be, I was like, oh, we don't have any topics. It'll just be us playing the beta. But it flowed very well. We did have different topics. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of community feedback too. I really like that people were so involved with this. I guess we're getting into Destiny 2 now. I'm so scared because I apply for grad school literally in 2 months, and I have to keep up my grades. But I'm gonna be I just want to pump out YouTube content, I just want to keep doing it. I want to work my ass off. I want to keep doing it, and then I just want to play Destiny 2. But I mean, and then I have inorganic chemistry in my ear calling you need to come study me. No, leave me alone. Real life is it's hard to balance a job, a side hustle job, school, and a fiance, and I'm gonna be having so much fun. This next year is gonna fly by. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited and nervous, but yeah. Hope everyone enjoyed episode 26. Pretty excited for the beta. I don't know if you're watching after the on the YouTube version. Let me know what you think about the beta down below. Why you're excited, why you're not. If you made it this far, I'm pretty excited. And I've been Scaro9. Find me at Scaro9 on Twitter, Scaro9 on YouTube. You guys can do your things.
I am XX Iconoclast. You can find me on Xbox Live and Twitter.
And JZ Basketball 25 on Xbox and also Twitter. Words.
All right then.
Wow.
Well, that was episode 26. We're gonna have to go tell Jay-Z what console he plays on. And,
get off my lawn.
Yeah, right. You guys have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week. We'll have tons of new information from IGN, Comic-Con stuff to talk about. Yeah, pretty excited. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.